Shalom, good morning, and welcome to this special live stream from MIF. We are joined today by Avraham Levine from Alma Center. Boker Tov, Avram.
Boker Tov.
Um, you will update us on what's happening now in Lebanon and northern Israel. But maybe first a few words about yourself and the center you work for.
So I work. First of all, I'm happy to be here, and I think it's important that we speak up and heard, especially in Europe today. I think the whole world is watching us, obviously, but I think the two regions that are most interested, I think, are obviously United States, as they are part of the current conflict,
Mm.
and Europe. Some of it part of the conflict, some of it is beside the conflict, but many interests. Even if we bring in the Iranian weapons in Russia fighting Ukraine, are essentially a European issue.
Mm.
So I think it's important. I'm glad to be here. So a little about myself: Avraham Levine, 47 years old, born and raised here in Israel. Live in the north for the past 18 years. Recently moved from the Syrian border in the Golan Heights to the Lebanese border. Lebanese border is about, I guess, 300 meters from
Oh,
where I am right now.
that
My house
close.
is really, I can literally open the window and see the wall.
Hmm.
Married, 8 children. My two oldest ones are in their 20s, already in the army.
Hmm.
And my youngest is should be in kindergarten now, but is obviously home with the rest of the younger ones because there's no school, no kindergarten. We've been home since basically the full week.
Hmm.
Since Saturday, everybody's home. Only supermarkets are open. I served in the army 98 to 2002, which
Hmm.
is relevant in the Northern Front because if you look at our history in the Northern Front, that means I was in the security zone in South
Mm.
Lebanon before we withdrew in May 2000.
You were pulled back by Ehud Barak.
Exactly. May 2000,
Hmm.
May 20th of May 2000, we withdrew from South Lebanon with my young soldiers. I was a young commander. And basically, since then, in the reserves, command of my platoon and the company. And in the past, I guess in my 40s, I got a little too old for the front line and switched course a little. And since then, I'm an intelligence officer. And actually, in the current war, so almost, I guess, over 2.5 years, my front is Hamas when I'm in the army.
Hmm.
When I'm in my civilian clothes at Alma Center, it's Hizbollah in the north.
Hmm.
But my military job is in the south on the Gaza front.
Hmm.
I was there over a year altogether. If you add the different times I was there,
Hmm.
so over a third of the time since October 7th, I've been down south, and the rest of the time I try to work a little and be home with the kids and wife,
Hmm.
focusing on the north. A
So,
little about Alma Center, just for a
yep.
moment, is to say Alma Center is a research center that uses open source intelligence, which means basically you can reach all the same materials. Arabic can help, obviously, but you can reach it's all on the internet.
Hmm.
Everything is there. We don't have assets on the ground. We don't have drones or satellites that we own, and we get our information. I think you would be amazed to see how much information is out there, either because they're proud to present it to the world and the world is
Yeah.
just not looking, right?
Yeah.
Hezbollah proudly says we're attacking. It's not
Hmm.
Israel saying, yo, did you notice this? Hezbollah and Iran are very proud every time they attack, and they notify and film and talk about their attacks. And on the other case, even when they try to hide things, we can still see things when you follow the right people, when you follow the right platforms in the different regions. You learn a lot about the enemy and understand the challenge much better. Alma focuses only on the northern front, mostly Lebanon and Syria, and some Iran and a little bit Houthis, because everything obviously is connected. But that's our focus at Alma Center.
Yeah, thanks. We've been talking to Alma Center before, and we follow your reporting. So I think you do important work, and that's why I contacted you again after the events of the last few days, because now there has been report of new Israeli invasion in small parts of southern Lebanon, maybe, but it's a fog of war and developments are happening so fast. Maybe you could give us like a brief understanding of what has happened on the northern front for the last couple of days.
So I'll take just one step back in order to explain the situation. We're talking about from October 7th, Hezbollah joins halfway, right? Their first mistake is obviously they didn't join October 7th, luckily, and we're all thankful for that situation didn't happen. Their second mistake would be October 8th, when they decide to start shooting missiles and rockets all across the north. And that continues for about 10 months till the ground maneuver. October, November of 24, basically a year after the war starts, Israel starts a ground maneuver and goes in, crosses the fences, invades, whatever, occupies, whatever word you'd like, the verb you like. Israel goes into South Lebanon. But let's remember, Israel doesn't go, IDF does not even reach the Litani River. It's really just a strip of all the areas that risk, that endanger and threaten Israel, exactly where I am right now. And basically, it's a strip of 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 kilometers from the border only, right? Litani River, which usually defines the border of South Lebanon, is 20 kilometers from where I am right now. So we're not talking about all of South Lebanon, but just a limited maneuver, a limited operation, only 2 months, as opposed to almost 3 years in Gaza, just to compare. And after 2 months, obviously under world pressure to stop, we reach a ceasefire agreement, which is a very weird word to use because we've been attacking in Lebanon since all the time, over 800 times. But the situation we were left in up to last week was 5 IDF positions were left north of the Lebanese-Israeli border. And basically, it's very easy when you're here to understand the logic. Everywhere that Lebanon has the high ground that would give Hezbollah the advantage above an Israeli community, IDF stayed in Lebanon. And that's the main Lebanese and UNIFIL complaint, that Israel is not playing by the rules and we're still invading. So that's the situation up to last week. We have 5 positions in Lebanon. What changed currently is that we're sort of widening that strip. Every post is moving a little more. We're not moving deeper in a sense. We're moving crab steps, left and right, and creating more of a strip instead of the 5 separate positions. So obviously, I mean, legal terms, probably invasion is the right word. I'm not trying to run away from that, but I'm just saying it's not that we're going into Lebanon all the way and now we have to be concerned. What we're doing right now is creating a better strip of along the blue line that we can defend and allow Israelis like myself here in the northern front to stay home this time. Because remember, the operation was when there were no civilians here in the north, and now Israel is saying we're not moving anyone. Everyone's staying home. IDF has to do the job of defending us, and the way we're doing it is obviously not by hiding behind the fence, because obviously the fence is not defense. That's what we've learned. So imagine a strip that
I brought up this map.
Exactly where you're going. Exactly where you're going.
All the strip is going where I.
Exactly. Mostly Shiite.
Not necessarily many kilometers deep, only a few hundred meters some places, or not even that.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a kilometer deep, but creating literally a chain, a better chain, and not separate links. Just connecting the links right now is what I would give. That's the title of the operation right now, as I see it.
We've seen a few rocket attacks from Hizbollah in a few days, but
we've seen.
Yeah.
I'd say, first of all, that's maybe the third mistake. I have a feeling that IDF was waiting for the opportunity. And maybe that's a risky thing to say, but just to explain, we obviously didn't finish the job in the 2-month maneuver. And I think it was a big mistake for Hezbollah to join. Maybe they didn't have a choice, as Hezbollah was created to be the tool, maybe useful idiot, for Iran to attack. Maybe they didn't have a choice, but I think a big mistake was to allow Israel to retaliate now. They weren't in this conflict. They weren't part of it. Israel did not attack Lebanon. We attacked Iran. And Hezbollah chose to start, and they continue. It wasn't a one-time, one night. They're still trying. We're still under alerts 3-4 times a day, all the time. Sirens go off here. And what we're seeing, the operation, it is something that I don't know if IDF wants to hold any more grounds, but I think IDF wants the opportunity to finish off and take away all the threats on the border, which is something we probably didn't do enough during the limited operation a year and a half ago. And
this time, it seems like we see an even stronger response from the Lebanese government, saying that Hezbollah needs to stop, or is that just you wouldn't take that seriously?
No, I don't want to underestimate. I think that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for Israel to invade. I don't want to be stuck at war with Lebanon again. I'd like my kids to go back to school. I want to meet groups from Norway here on the border, as opposed to speaking to them on Zoom and Riverside virtually. But I do think we have to finish the job, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing right now. And I think Hezbollah, by allowing us this opportunity, made a mistake. And I'd like to hear and see that the real effect that we're looking for is the state of Lebanon to get up, as we want to see the people of Iran get up. Because I think if the other side doesn't take part, then we're just halfway.
Since the ceasefire in November 2024, the Lebanese army has tried to take away a lot of the weapons from Hezbollah. They said the area was now de-weaponized. How big a threat is Hezbollah today?
I don't buy that the Lebanese army really were doing their job. I think they were doing some of the job, a part-time job. And I don't trust the Lebanese army in that sense. Not because I can judge their intentions, but because I think the position they're in is that they have a choice between either allowing Hezbollah to stay and continue to be a threat to Israel, and therefore a threat to Lebanon stability and pushing away the West, or getting close and friction with a terror organization that might start a civil war. And we have to remember, the worst threat in Lebanon is civil war. It's not Israel, it's not Iran necessarily, or Syria, or they don't have other neighbors. It's a civil war. And that's what Naim Qassem for the past year has been saying. If you touch our weapons, we'll go to civil, right? It's civil war, we'll fight. And in that sense, I think they were working their way around the situation. Hezbollah allowed them to go against weaker Palestinian groups, or find some of the weapons or some of the places that were less important, but I don't see them really working. The number of weapons that IDF can show from the 2-month limited operation are way more impressive than a full year of the Lebanese army all across Lebanon. Which means for me that they're not doing their job. I also see that we're continuing to attack and find more and more weapons just from Israel. So obviously this hasn't happened yet. And maybe now this operation is the last push, maybe optimistically, to make the government make a more aggressive move against Hizbollah, especially as they see Iran as less of a threat right now. And I think those would be the two fronts that I'm looking at right now on the northern front: the Iranian people to topple the regime, or the Lebanese government not to topple the regime, but to take control over Hezbollah and just de-weaponize Hezbollah. Those are the two things that we're looking for to happen. And until that happens, no matter how many targets are hit, and how many attacks we manage and how accurate our information is, we're still only halfway.
I saw the IDF chief of staff. He said he wanted now to finish the job with Hezbollah.
Exactly. And I don't think we want to finish the job with Hezbollah in the sense of Israel is not going to go into the Baqa Valley, right? The back office in the middle of Lebanon, bordering Syria, and go house to house like we did in Ait Ashaib, my neighbor here, or Malwachin, our neighbors here, is not something we're looking for. I don't see us doing boots on the ground all across Lebanon against Hezbollah. Therefore, what I would like is to weaken Hezbollah enough to allow the Lebanese to take control. What I want on my border is a responsible, stable neighbor in charge. And that's what we're missing in Lebanon.
We haven't seen, at least yet, any Shahed drones coming from Lebanon. Do you think Hezbollah still has the capability to send Shahed drones?
Well, you mean
attack drones?
Attack drones? We see them trying all the time.
Okay.
They're further away. Iran's not backing them as much as they would like. The whole ground route from Iran through Iraq into Syria into Lebanon has been closed. Actually, I can't take credit for that. I'll say thank you to Erdogan and Julani for breaking that route, which also slowed them down. They've been trying for the past year to build and manufacture on their own a lot of the weapons, but I think they're in the middle of the way. And that's why I think Hezbollah didn't join immediately, because they were in a dilemma. Are we still in a rebuilding stage, or are we prepared to join the war again? And I think if they were prepared fully, they would have done it immediately, right? Khamenei gets killed. Obviously, that's the biggest trigger of them all. And still, it took them time, about 24 hours later. So I think Hezbollah is not prepared as they were. They're weakened, and they're trying with what they've got.
Yeah. I will bring up an illustration that is published by Alma Center, showing all the countries that Iran has attacked since Saturday. Was this development a surprise for you, that they involved so many Arab countries?
Well, just to be fair to Iran, which is something I obviously don't have to, but obviously they're trying to affect and pressure both the United States and all these countries, and the countries themselves as allies of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not surprised, because Iran doesn't really have a choice here. Mm-hmm. Iran will not attack. US is way too far. The enemy does not exist, and is very well prepared to defend itself. And I mean, if you try to attack the Lincoln or the Ford, good luck. But if you're trying to hit bases in all of these countries, there's more of a chance that you'll have an effect that you could show on TV to your people, that you can brag about. and therefore it's an easier route than trying to hit U.S. on the ground. Israel, obviously, we were going to be the first victim anyway. Even if United States would have been attacking on our own, it was obvious to everyone we would be the one to get the first attack. But obviously, Saudi Arabia, anywhere around the Gulf, anywhere in the Middle East, is a much easier target and an obvious target to pressure and see if the people can support or continue to support this alliance. I think right now it's holding up okay.
Hadassah says, trying to hang on, understand bits and pieces, but thank you to all IDF for amazing work. So I think a lot of Norwegian Scandinavians, when they consider that Israel saved the world from Saddam Hussein having nuclear weapons, saved the world from Bashar Assad having nuclear weapons, now saved the world from having Khamenei having nuclear weapons, I think we should say thanks.
I think Israelis right now are patient. We have the ability to withstand the attacks, even though the attacks from Iran are massive. Are massive. We see the destruction when they do hit. It's a completely different game than anything Hamas or Hizbollah ever shot at us.
Yeah.
And we see that in Bet Shemesh, we obviously, and I think right now IDF, Air Force, intelligence are doing their best, and actually, if we look back, I think the success now is because we were always focused on this situation, as opposed to Gaza and Hamas, and that's the reason there's such disparity between how we did in Gaza and how we're doing now in Iran. It's because we were always prepared for this situation, for the ballistic missiles. When we were all focused on that, all as IDF, as intelligence, Air Force, and then what we're seeing is totally extraordinary.
Yeah. I saw one of the American newspapers reporting that Israel had hacked traffic control cameras in Tehran for many years. Just an illustration of how deep the penetration has been for intelligence.
I think today technology allows us so much information, and the challenge is to create a picture from all the information. The challenge is not where do I get more information, but how do I create a picture from all the dots that I'm receiving? I know that from my experience against Hamas in Gaza. Obviously, in Iran, it's even more, because the more complex, the more hierarchy built, and bigger the organization is, the more holes and traps you can leave and find. And that's what we're seeing in Iran. And I hope this succeeds, and we can finish the job and faster more than is important. I don't think we can withstand a very long battle like this with Iran.
But we've seen Iran sending fewer and fewer ballistic missiles. Do you think it's because their capabilities is being damaged so much, or is it because you think they save them up for a longer campaign?
It's probably both, but I would say seeing the slowing down of Iran, and we're feeling it at home, just driving home last night, and we're speaking, my wife says, I think they're slowing down. It's literally felt by civilians, by citizens here. And the same we can say about Hizbollah. For a full year, we saw Hizbollah shoot hundreds of missiles, rockets. Iran was sending, in what they call the True Promise attacks, hundreds of missiles, rockets, drones again and again. And for the first time, we're seeing on both fronts a major slowing down, a major hit on their capabilities. And in the Iran case, maybe they're trying to save a little, but I think they don't have much. I think right now they're very limited. And maybe I'm a little optimistic, but I think the reason they're slowing down is they're having a hard time breaching our defense.
How do you evaluate the chance of having a regime change in Tehran?
Regime change always surprised the world. Let's not fool ourselves. We were surprised by, just the short history. We were completely surprised by the Arab Spring, right? No one said in 2009, no one said we're going to a big mess in the whole Middle East, Algeria, Egypt, Syria. We didn't see that coming. We didn't see Giuliani taking over Syria in December 24. It's very hard to judge intentions and people. And that's why I'm speaking only out of hope. I don't necessarily see the red flags or the opposite in this case, because I'd like a regime change. But I think that's the last thing that we should assume that we know when it's going to happen. But at least this time we're putting it on the table. It's very clear that's the target. We're not hiding behind only security. We're not hiding behind only, we're just stopping this and we'll see what happens. I think for the first time, US and Israel are saying this is the goal. We need to change the regime.
The regime still have a lot of high enriched uranium. Is there a fear they're gonna try to build like a dirty bomb or something?
I think the challenge is not and has not been the material for maybe a couple of years. I think the big challenge that they were facing and what Israel was focused on cyber and military side was weaponizing that uranium. And I think right now we're still safe from a dirty bomb being used in this conflict. I think that's one of the reasons in the first place, we had to go in June and go again now, is because we wanted to beat that time clock.
You told us that you have 8 kids, and you obviously see their future in Israel. I followed Israel closely from the outside now for 30 years. Like you were a soldier during the second Intifada, during the withdrawal from Lebanon. You have obviously also you were alive during the first Intifada.
Actually living in Samaria. Actually living in Samaria through the first Intifada as a kid. So
yeah,
very much my growing up experience.
So is there? I'm just trying to bring you to an evaluation of the level of optimism that you see in the society as a whole now compared to, obviously, October 23 was probably the lowest. What's the situation now compared to that, and even compared to the early 2000s and 1990s?
I'll try and put it this way. There's a whole political discussion in Israel about our failure in October 23. And part of it is there's a notion that says we lost that day. There is no winning anymore because that day was so devastating. On the other hand, I appreciate the support, of course. On the other hand, I'd like to say everything's improved since October 23. Not as opposed to October 23, even as opposed to October 6, 23. On all security fronts today, we're safer and stronger because Hamas pulled the trigger.
Yep.
Hamas is a weakened threat on Israeli citizens. They're still fighting. I have 2 sons fighting in southern Gaza right now, still under fire once in a while. But on the other hand, you're welcome to come when flights are back and visit Be'eri, Nachal Oz, Sderot, Ofakim, and feel completely safe. The border with Gaza has been safe for 2.5 years. If we speak about Hizbollah, the threat of Hizbollah is, as we see today, I can go outside. I can actually send pictures from the border in a couple of minutes. The threat of Hizbollah is definitely weakened.
Yep.
The threat from Shiite militias in Syria, from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, from Iraq is weakened. The Houthis are weakened on every front. Iran, ballistic missile or nuclear weapons are weakened. So everything's improving.
Yeah.
Have we finished the job? The answer is no. On any of the fronts, we're having a hard time eliminating and finishing off the job. But is Israel safer today? Not than October 7th. Israel is safer today than October 6th.
Yeah.
On all fronts.
Yeah.
There's not one front that I'm more concerned with today than I was on October 6th.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So yes, that was the low. But today we're on the way up since then. Slow steps and paying a very hard price.
And the fact that
in our lives, but an economy and education and many other things. But everything is improving on security-wise. Everything is on the upside.
Yeah. And the fact that Israel now, from the first moment of a war, is fighting together with the US is quite a change from 1991, when the US kept Israel out of the fight against Saddam Hussein and even denied Israel the right to give a military answer to the Scud missiles.
I remember the Scuds then. I remember the feeling, how can we allow this? And US, in order to create the coalition of Europe, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait with US, asked Israel, do not interfere, as opposed to this time saying, Israel, can you help us out here? We're going to do this together. And seeing Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Emirates suddenly were on the same side is a very big change. I think the whole notion that we grew up on, I'll be completely frank, of it's Israel against the Arab world, that's the phrase we would use, right? Because when we studied 48, 67, 73, the first wars that Israel has, War of Independence, and later on, it was against the Arab world. It was even countries that even don't border with Israel. We were fighting Iraqi brigades that came through Jordan. That does not exist today.
Yeah.
There is no Arab world fighting Israel. There's militias, there's jihadists, there's Sunnis, there's Shiites, but there's many people now that are not part of that notion, that are not against Israel and trying to work with Israel against the terrorists on either side.
Yeah, yeah. Harald Evensen he asked about ongoing military operations in Lebanon. We talked about that in the beginning of this live stream, so Harald, you can go back and listen to that. But if we go back to that issue, do you see? I think you touched about it, but maybe repeat it. Do you see a chance of further is IDF going deeper into Lebanon to remove Hezbollah from the villages in the south?
I think that's one of the options that is definitely on the table. And I say that carefully, but we can be in a situation that in 2-3 weeks, Israel is in a ground operation all the way to the Litani. And I'm not sure Israel is looking for that. I think only if we're forced by Hezbollah continuing to fight, we'll have to do that. I think Israel is hoping we won't need to do that, and Lebanon will do their job. On purpose, leaving UNIFIL out as a player, because I do not see it as a player and do not expect UNIFIL to be part of it, as we saw it not doing anything for 17, 18 years before.
Yeah.
But I think it's the Lebanese turn to do their job as it was intended in 1701 originally. So I hope they'll save us the job. Israel does not want to be in Lebanon for the next 20 years and return to phase one. And it's actually going back to the question of 1982. I think we don't want to be in a long war in Lebanon. What we want to do, and I think in Lebanon it's fairly, I wouldn't say easy, but simple. I think once we remove the military threat of Hizbollah, we can create here a border that will be a really peaceful border, something that maybe we're still looking for a warm border. But this could be a better border than the Egyptian and Jordanian border. It has that potential. We just have to remove Hezbollah from the equation.
Especially if Hezbollah loses their sponsorship from Iran. Bjarte?
In 2023 and 2024, a big part of the population in northern Israel was evacuated. You think there's going to be a situation again where there's going to be a new evacuation?
I sure hope not. I think one of Hezbollah's greatest victories was that evacuation. And I'm not claiming it was a bad move necessarily, but we have to realize what it created. First of all, it created ghost towns. Over 40 communities, 60,000 people leaving their homes, left a big vacuum in northern Israel and weakened our stance. It also allowed Hezbollah the legal excuse to say, I'm not shooting at civilians. I think Israel is trying to, has changed its course and saying, I'm not evacuating this time. And if you hit civilians, you'll pay the price. And I moved recently to the town I'm in right now because it's still, people haven't came back to this community, and to help support, I moved my family to this community. And I hope we won't be in the situation of evacuating. I would add, on the Lebanese side, they are in the same situation. Many Lebanese are leaving South Lebanon because of the same threat on the other side. The mirror picture is they're leaving their towns because Hezbollah doesn't have the ability, and Hezbollah uses them as human shield. So maybe that's another angle that we have to check and see, are the people of South Lebanon starting to understand that they're only a human shield and they're there only to defend Hezbollah? And if they're not there, Hezbollah doesn't have a way to threaten Israel because they work only behind civilians.
It used to be a big fear of Hezbollah attack like the October 7 attack in the south, that Hezbollah would invade the northern part of Israel. You think that threat is over now?
As a massive attack, yes. I am not concerned with a massive attack October 7 style. Will they try to hit an IDF vehicle on the way to one of the posts? They've done that, and they're trying. Will I be surprised from an explosive device under one of the roads? Not one bit. But a large invasion, yes, I think that's a threat that we took care of when we pushed them back towards the Litani.
Yeah. Avraham, is there anything else you want to say to Friends of Israel in Norway?
I'd like to say that, in a sense, everything that's happening is great, which is a weird thing to say under fire and stuck at home in shelters. But I think Israel's fear, especially here in the north, was the world was saying, let's de-escalate. And de-escalation is very dangerous here because that's what led us to October 7th. And actually, we were calling for, in a weird way and ironic, we were calling for an escalation because de-escalation means Hezbollah is rebuilding. It means Iran is preparing and manufacturing all of the weapons. And we needed this escalation in order to remove the threat. And in that sense, this is almost good news All right. I know this is ironic and I'm trolling a little, but just to say there are a lot of advantages here that that Israel is taking, and I hope we take this opportunity with both hands, not only here in Israel, but in US and Europe, and remove a threat to the whole world. Iran is not a threat on Israel. Iran is a threat to the West, right? Remember the Houthi flag? Houthi flag is 5 sentences.
Yep.
All right, and it just shows the Shiite state of mind. The Houthi flag, if we translate it, 5 short sentences. It's Allah Akbar, Allah is great. But then the second one is death to America. The third is death to Israel. Then it's a curse upon the Jews. Victory to Islam. They don't even speak about the Houthis. If you take a look at all the proxies of Iran, at their flags, if you look at the symbols of IRGC in Iran, they all have a globe on them. They don't have the map of Iran or the map of Lebanon. Hizbollah has the globe and the weapon. This is the Houthi flag. Very good. They speak about the world. It's America is the symbol of the leader of the West, but the goal is the West. And therefore, what we're doing now is we're fighting the threat of Iran and the Shiite revolution on the whole world. And I hope I don't hope we survive. I know we'll survive. I hope we succeed in removing the threat altogether so we don't have to be here again in a year, finishing the job again and again and again instead of doing it once and for all.
Yeah. I'll let you go, but thanks a lot for joining us.
My pleasure.
It was a great great update, and hundreds of viewers will appreciate this in today and the coming days.
Anything you need, follow us. If you have any questions, you think we're missing anything on the European angle, please let us know, and we'll try and help and work in the directions you think.
And yeah, so I will just let our viewers know where to find you. So the website is Israel. What's that? Dash in English. Israel-alma.org, and you can see that they post regular updates. And if you're ever in Israel, they also have you have a visitor center, isn't it?
Yes, we're working on doubling the center, and I hope we'll be using it once the war is over. But everybody's welcome to contact us, and we're obviously on all social media platforms. Look us up. Twitter would be the more professional one, but obviously we have the Instagram videos and anything you're looking at.
Anything else, Beate?
Sounds good. Thank you so much for the update.
Pleasure. Keep in touch.
Yeah. להתראות. תודה רבה. Bye bye.